Romans 12 and 18 tells us that if possible, as it depends on you, live at peace with everyone, right? We've been talking about peacemakers versus peacekeepers. And on our last episode, we talked about when peacemaking efforts end up where it's just not getting the results. That person has made the choice not to change. And sometimes peacemaking looks like having to leave that situation, whether temporary or permanently, right, for the sake of your peace. But what if leaving is not an option for you? Does that mean that peacemaking efforts have been in vain? Does that mean that you're stuck and you have to deal with that toxic environment and that's it? Well, I invite you to join me today for day 5, the shift, strategic peace in the midst of toxic situations. Today's version will be an audio version, but it will still be yet powerful and impactful. So I challenge you to stick with me, grab your pen and your notebook, and let's navigate this together. Hey, welcome to day 5 of Morning Fuel with the Driver, with your sis, Danessa Driver, the host of Navigating Life with the Driver podcast on YouTube. I'm excited that you're still along for the journey for this 7-day mini-series of peacemakers versus peacekeepers. As you know, on Friday, which was day 4, first of all, I hope you had a great weekend. I did. Very nice time with family. It's always good to step back and breathe, especially when we're talking about deep topics that can really evoke some emotions within us. So taking our time to step back and ground yourself is always necessary. But on Friday, we talked about where we can love people and yet still choose peace. And part of that peacemaking involved if I have constantly and consistently put in the work to create peace in an environment that just says, no, we like it toxic and we're going to keep it toxic, then I got to do what it takes for me to find that inner peace. And I need to make the decisions, a hard decision sometimes, to say, you know what? I think I got to detach. I need to leave. I need to, what Lauryn Hill say, find some peace of mind. And sometimes that looks like walking away, stepping away. And that may not always be a permanent solution, but even if it's just temporary, sometimes it takes that to promote peace in that environment or to find total peace for yourself. Well, over the weekend, I got to thinking, knowing that my line of work that I used to do, the clients I served, my own personal situation at times, throughout my life, what happens for those that they may know that the situation is toxic? They may know and want to detach and leave, but right now life circumstances just don't allow it. It doesn't allow you to step away from that family member. It doesn't allow you to detach from that toxic relationship or that toxic work environment. And some things that may not allow that could be our finances. It could be lack of resources that's needed to even reestablish yourself. It could be fear of the unknown. It could just be, I'm just not ready to make that decision yet. Whatever it is, but the time just does not feel right. And knowing that, sometimes you may ask yourself like, man, I heard what my sis driver said, and I know the reality of my situation. I know how it's making me feel, but I can't leave right now for whatever reason. So you may ask yourself, well, does that mean my peacemaking efforts have been in vain? They're in vain. Should I even start? Or you may say, should I just even give up on what I've been doing? Give up on this idea of establishing real peace since I'm feeling stuck in this toxic storm. And those are legitimate questions. But today, in a short answer right now, I'm here to tell you, no, it's not in vain. No, do not give up. But this is where peacemaking needs to make a shift. Where peacemaking no longer needs to be actively trying to resolve that conflict or that toxic environment. It needs to be focused on managing your own emotional boundaries at this time. This is where day 5, the shift, strategic peace in toxic situations comes in. Again, our subject for today is the shift, strategic peace in toxic situations. We know our theme scripture from Friday was Romans 12:18. And it said, if possible, as far as it depends on you, live at peace with everyone. And I want to refocus back on that part that says, as far as it depends on you. That, again, means that finding peace is not predicated on them or that environment changing. It's not predicated on them or that environment offering apologies or accommodations. And it's not predicated on them or that environment suddenly becoming healthy. What that means is it's really predicated on you, strictly you, strictly you. So let's talk strategic peace. And in order for us to really dive into strategic peace, I feel like we need to understand what that word strategic means first. So let's define it. It's actions, it's plans, decisions that are deliberately designed to achieve a specific long-term goal. So let's bring it home. That means being purposeful about finding peace despite the circumstances and the position you find yourself in your life right now, dealing with that toxic person, toxic situation, toxic environment. Strategic peace is proactive. And proactive simply means it acts in anticipation, often based off what has already taken place. So you already kind of know what to expect when it comes to conflict, when it comes to the toxicity that's in that environment. You already know what happens. You know what sets that thing or that person or what gets things in motion. So it's you being proactive and already anticipating, like, okay, this is going to cause this to happen. So I'm going to have a plan, an action, have some decisions in place on how to navigate that beforehand. Being proactive, that's key with strategic peace. And part of that proactiveness is something that I like to call radical acceptance. Now, this part, some may find it hard to agree with. It may take you a moment to think on these things, but I encourage you to do that. Think on these things, okay? Radical acceptance means that you're not only recognizing the reality of a person or that environment, their traits of what the core beliefs of who they are and how they act are, the behaviors that all ignite that conflict and disrupt that peace. And when I say conflict, because conflict is a natural part of life, but it's the toxicity, that part that is not willing to resolve, not willing to do it in a healthy way, that's tearing you down emotionally and everything. It's being able to not only recognize but accept that what you see is really what you're getting. It's accepting the reality that this is who or what they are, and they have not chosen, listen to that word, chosen to change, okay? So there's a popular saying that I've heard it said in many different ways, right? So this one I like because I think it lines up really good with what we're talking about. It says, if it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's a duck. So stop expecting it to be a swan. Stop expecting it to be a swan. And I can hear you, and I can hear my inner self at times throughout my life. I'm 46 years old. I can hear myself saying, oh, what that means I'm giving up on them. And I love them. Why would I love them. I love this job. I love this atmosphere. I feel like I'm giving up on them. No, we're not. You're not giving up on them, that environment. Remember, we're talking about strategic peace, okay? It's about being here in this place. And if you're here right now tuning in and you're considering and you're listening and this is hitting you, this lets me know that you have most likely experienced not just once or twice, but continuous cycles of having to navigate that toxic behavior or that toxic environment, trying different things to the point where you have felt that the only way to get peace is to leave, whether you can do that now or not. So no, it's not giving up on you, because people that usually think that way are the ones that go to the ends of the earth. They try everything because they want to know that, and they want to be able to say, at least I tried it all, before they walked away. Is that a healthy mindset or not? Neither here nor there right now. But that right there is proof that no, you're not a quitter. No, you're not giving up on someone right away. No. Listen, every behavior, it comes from a choice. And everybody has a choice to either remain the same or do the work to change. That scripture that says, let every man carry his own load, we can talk about that emotionally, mentally as well, not just physically. We are not called to be surgeons to fix and rearrange other people's hearts and lives and emotions. We can be cheerleaders along for the ride, but if they don't want the help, we can't force it upon them, nor can we force them to change, and nor do we have to sacrifice our own peace because they have made the choice to remain the same, whether it's a person or an environment. Listen, that cycle of deep disappointment and sadness that's attached to it that you experience going through these cycles of it's good when it's good and when it's bad it's ugly, all that can be eliminated or start to be eliminated and turn around for you when you become proactive and you are able to have radical acceptance of who or what that person or environment is showing you they are. And sometimes telling you too, because some people will tell you. Some environments will tell you in the actions, okay? Now, like I said, some may feel like this action is giving up on people. But in reality, it's letting go of a battle that we were never designed to fight, okay? We weren't designed to be in constant conflict, over-explaining ourselves, downplaying our own needs and emotions. Yeah, we're called to love, but not at the expense of sacrificing our own needs and self. There's a healthy sacrificial, but not the one that's going to cause you to emotionally die out, be depressed, anxious, not wanting to get out the bed in the morning, feeling hopeless, whatever that looks like for you, full of anxiety, No. It's so someone else can see you. You know what I'm saying? It's not even that, not so someone else can see you, because that's what we do when we stay, when we don't give up. We're hoping that person will see us and see our worth and maybe change because we're worth it. But our worth shouldn't be tied to a person's behavior and their ability to create peace and resolve conflict effectively. No, strategic peace is about focusing inward. It's time to focus inward, especially if you are in that environment, you can't leave and you know it's toxic. Focus inward before you completely lose yourself. And that battle that you feel like you're giving up on, give it to God. Give it to God. Let him take it. That's his children, whether they're his children within your family, your relationship, or that work environment. Those are his people. Exodus 14:14 tells us the Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. Take that to mean that not every battle requires your voice, your time, or even your energy. Some just require our restraint. Our restraint. Our external and internal boundaries. Us keeping ourselves. Strategic peace looks like choosing not to engage in every argument, in every debate. It looks like stepping back. And you ain't got to announce I'm stepping back. It's just inwardly choosing like, hey, I want no parts of this. I'm just going to exit myself slowly but surely. I got to make no big announcement about it. It's choosing to stay emotionally neutral. That means not giving it your emotional energy. Instead of reacting, just choosing to respond. And that response could be neutral, no emotion attached to it, short, factual, not suppressing your emotions, but really just not giving it your time and energy, not wasting it. It's a method called gray rocking. And I'm not going to get into that fully today, but I want to encourage you to take some time out. Look that up, because if you find yourself in situations that are toxic, gray rocking could be a great tool for you to use to help navigate that while you're trying to have that strategic peace. It takes being purposeful about, in those times, remaining civil. You know what? I ain't got to match your energy. I ain't got to be, because you cussing me out or you talking crazy to me or you down on me and all that. I don't have to match your energy, because I'm protecting my peace. I'm protecting my emotional well-being. I'm choosing to respond and not react, not give you my energy. So that means learning how to find that silliness with you. Being polite, hard to do, but the Bible tells us that a harsh answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word can stir up anger. And that's found in Proverbs 15:1. Proverbs 15:1. We can learn to be assertive without being rude. Assertiveness looks like being able to state how something makes you feel, your boundaries, enforcing those boundaries, and knowing when, just like I said, to step away. Doing so, it don't mean you weak. No, that's not a sign of weakness. What that is a sign of wisdom, because you're learning that adding to the toxic behavior is only going to fuel what's already on fire. And why do that? Because it's not going to do anything but affect your peace. The peace that you want. That's your main focus. It's no more trying to find peace within the toxic environment, because that's been proven that that's just not going to happen right now. Strategic peace, that involves prioritizing your own nervous system. What does that mean? You know that part of you that feels triggered when those toxic situations flare up? You're triggered by that toxic behavior. You're triggered by what you just feel in the atmosphere. That's your nervous system reacting to that. You know, you're feeling off, like, oh, I just feel so off. I don't know what's wrong with me. And nothing's even really happened sometimes, but it's just being in that environment. You feel disconnected from yourself. You feel like you're constantly on high alert, like your fight, flight, freeze, or fawn responses are activated. Like there's imminent danger there, but there's really not imminent danger. But because the environment is so toxic, you're always in that state of mind, right? This is why we need to prioritize our nervous system. The Bible tells us in Proverbs 4:23 that above all else, we're to guard our hearts diligently, because out of it flows the issues of life. The heart, our emotions, our spiritualness, our mental well-being, we got to guard that. No, we can't control the environments, but we can control how those environments affect us. That means we got to be intentional about that stepping away. Even if that means in the midst of conflict, I got to step back. And I got to not only step away, but I got to make sure that I'm doing something to help regulate me, my emotions, my inner person. That's emotional self-care. That looks like maybe looking into deep breathing exercises, grounding techniques, things that we hear talked about, and we're like, oh, that sounds, okay. But that stuff is helpful. And knowing what works for you before that conflict happens is great, because then you can reach into that emotional toolbox and get to utilizing. I like things like the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 method, where, and I never get it right, but it's using the 5 senses, and you're naming, let's say you're naming 5 things you see, 4 things you feel, 3 things you can touch, 2 things you can hear, 1 thing you can taste in your surrounding, just getting your mind off of what's present right now to ground you. But there's so many other different things out there that you can use. Invest in yourself. Do the research, do the work to find out what works for you. Utilize prayer, if that's what you do. Meditating on the things that bring a smile to your face when you think about it. Practice meditating on those. Practice meditating on God's word, his goodness, who he is despite your situation. Journaling, walking, whatever it is, be intentional in whatever will help you feel grounded and help calm your body's stress response, because that's what's elevated. I'm gonna tell you, in working with some of my clients that had that fight response that was just always on high alert sometimes, or even conflict, and they want to just, go in and get physical with that person. Some of them have been known to do things as little as go into a different room, punch the crap out of that pillow, throw that pillow to the floor as many times as you need to release that stress, or even as big as taking up axe throwing, or for the ones that are not scared of guns, go into the gun range. Do what you got to do, because those things they found gave them the same gratification as being physical with someone, and it also helped them de-stress, and they didn't lose themselves. They didn't give that person or that environment the satisfaction of seeing their emotional reaction, them lose it, but yet they were able to get that gratification of letting off that steam and decompressing their body stress response system. Strategic peace. It also looks like redirecting your energy in regards to your time, your hobbies, your passions, the need for connection with others. You want to redirect those areas when you're dealing with a toxic environment, especially on a daily basis or weekly basis, or you want to take those things and you want to pour them into positive outside outlets, things that are outside those toxic environments that don't involve that person or environment. That looks like volunteering somewhere, giving back, maybe finding another positive community to connect yourself with. That could look like church, that could look like support groups, finding like-minded people that have the same love and hobbies you have, the same mentality, pouring into them. Spending time with healthy and supportive friends. Therapy. Yep, I did say therapy. Because you don't have to just go there and talk about what's going on, but it's there to help build you, to help restore you, to help strengthen you, whether it's in the midst of the toxic environment or you're leaving. We're talking about strategic peace in regards to guarding your heart. Now, before we end today, I got to talk about boundaries, but the focus is going to be on internal instead of external. Strategic peace in regards to internal boundaries looks like mentally separating yourself from their moods, their attitudes, their reactions. You are not responsible for their reactions. You're not responsible for managing their emotions or carrying the weight of them. Not at all. And their moods and reactions should not have the power to dictate your mood or even your day. Now, for this to be effective, you have to do the work of developing in advance those internal boundaries. You got to know what you will not engage with when it comes to conflict, what you're not willing to discuss, because you don't want to keep finding yourself going down the rabbit hole of toxicity with them over the same things, that same cycle. It looks like preventing yourself from being sucked back into, like I said, the ongoing cycles of conflict and having your emotions follow. Choosing not to engage in every argument. Not over-explaining yourself to the point of mental exhaustion or feelings of defeat and what's the use. That's what eternal boundaries look like. And not absorbing what God never assigned to you, what he never assigned to you. Eternal boundaries will help you do those things, enforce those things. But you got to put the work in to find out what areas those eternal boundaries are needed in. What are your no-nos? So today we talked about strategic peace in regards to toxicity. And you want to know, or maybe you need to know, what to do if you can't detach yourself for some reason, or because it's not the right time. That's what today was focused on. If you're needing to know strategic pieces because you're at the point where you know, I shouldn't be here, but yet the timing isn't right. I want you to know that strategic peace is not weakness. It's not pretending everything is okay. Okay? The focus is finding peace within while you're still in the fire. It's deciding that this situation will not cost me my peace. Not anymore. No. And you know what else I want you to know? That even though you are still in the thick of it, know this, if you are tuning in to this right now, if you are doing the work, not just with me, but being intentional doing the work on your own time, trying to navigate this, you're not stuck. X that narrative out of your head. You're not stuck. This is what I want you to put in your mind when that comes out. I'm stuck. No. You are just learning how to navigate and do things differently in the middle of this shift. In the middle of this shift. You're shifting, girl. You're shifting, man. You're shifting. You're shifting. Strategic peace. The shift in the midst of toxic situations. I hope I said something to encourage you. And like I said, this is day 5. If you're just joining the journey, great. But I would encourage you to go back, start at day 1, flow on through, catch up. That way tomorrow you can join me for day 6 as we dive even deeper. We got today, tomorrow, and then day 7, we're going to close it out. Before I go, I do want to just send a special thank you to the ones that have been riding with Navigating Life with the Driver since day 1. That even jumped on the journey of Morning View with the Driver. Thank you so much for the love and support, for the feedback that you've been giving me, for even the personal contacts of, letting me know that what I'm speaking and sharing in regards to not, I know it all, but also lived experience is helping you because it makes what I do worthwhile. If you just joined, thank you. Even if it was just within the last week or even today, thank you. I appreciate that. And I pray that you coming along with this journey will be beneficial to you and not just me. I'm proud of you that you are today. And know that you are great, you are beautiful, you are worth it. Peace, you are worth it. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you tomorrow.